Now, we've heard the Prime Minister label the behaviour of protesters and attacks on police in Wellington as disgraceful. They've flung faeces, one has driven a car into a crowd and verbally abused officers. New Zealand First Leader Winston Peters toured the camp and he joins us now. Welcome to the show this morning. You would have just heard the Police Commissioner say that if the peaceful protesters leave, they believe the unlawful behaviour will then stop. Could your visit have encouraged the protesters to stay?
I hope to encourage the protesters to demand that they be heard. It's astonishing that in their 16th day, no one has opened a dialogue from Parliament, from any political party, hasn't been to see them, and that is utterly unprecedented.
So you haven't asked them to leave?
41 years ago, there was a 42-day protest there, so that's not unprecedented. The reality is that if the Prime Minister and her cabinet were prepared to talk to them, I would sure that this could de-escalate real fast. But if it doesn't, I fear there's going to be further problems and violence.
In terms of your timing for visiting and in terms of the violence you mentioned, they've been there for 15 days. You visit the day after faeces had been thrown at police and some kind of substance thrown, police officers being treated in hospital. Why visit at that time?
Well, I don't get the point of your question.
Well, doesn't it send a message that you're condoning the behaviour of the protesters there if you're meeting them after that has happened?
Are you trying to say that a few extremist actions against the massive majority who are law-abiding and peaceful protesters, and for some of them who've lost 30 years of their career, their jobs and everything, is to be the most prominent issue? You'll always get the odd nutcase, but the reality is, from what I saw, the people that are being gaslit by the media and, dare I say, politicians, are simply not that crowd.
A number of the protesters have actually left because they don't condone the behaviour that has gone on in recent days. So a number of the people that you're perhaps referring to have actually left.
Well, with respect, you're just making it up as you go along. That's not the circumstance. If you go down and have a look today, there'll be the same that was there yesterday, and it's actually building. I'm seeing people getting off the airline. I'm astonished to hear them, see who they are and what their backgrounds are. But the reality is that if they'd have been spoken to, if they'd have been listened to, if there'd been some dialogue, then this will not be where it is today.
The Prime Minister
and it's preposterous.
Has told...
You will not find any part in our country's history where the politicians en masse have signed a pact not to talk to protesters.
Well, they have put out a cross-party agreement saying that they would talk to them if the unlawful behaviour was to stop. But the Prime Minister has accused Christopher Luxon of dancing dangerously close to sympathy with the protesters. Do you sympathise with them?
Well, look, if you want to have an interview with me about yesterday's experience, and it was very enlightening, and people were pleased that I did turn up and showed my face and prepared to listen and hear what they had to say, not spend all my time with the media trying to get some publicity, but to talk to them about the true things that are going on and the terrible tragedies that have happened to their lives, and it's writ large right across this country if you care to listen. That's what I'm interested in talking about, not some other statement between politicians, both of whom I can't agree how to treat their people properly. After all, these people might be protesters, but like you and like the rest of New Zealand, they are the masters of the politicians, not the servants. And we need to get that connection right.
You didn't wear a mask there yesterday. Can you just explain your reasoning behind that?
Well, you know full well that the masks that are being offered these days, unless they're highly surgical masks of a certain scientific and medical content, are a waste of time. But we're living with so many shibboleths and statements today that nobody knows what's going on. Every time you announce on your program, for example, that 2,200 or 2,300 people have just got COVID yesterday, you're repeating a lie, because it's 3 or 4 times that. And it's possibly at the moment we've got 45,000 COVID cases in this country, over 100 in hospital, not much more than 100, and 1 in ICU.
If I can come back to the question about the mask, though, Mr. Peters, you, in August 2020, were one of the politicians calling for mandatory use of masks, and in fact, when it was brought in, said that you'd been calling for that from day one. So have you changed your stance on that?
No, I've not changed my mind on the quality of masks, and that should be obvious if you, as a journalist, were following it. If you use the wrong mask, it's it's next to useless. You've got to use the right one.
And you're feeling
and all the specialists are saying that, and so why aren't they available for people?
You're feeling on the actions of those who are perhaps being more abusive physically among the protesters. There was a group around you who were escorting, that were manhandling journalists there, including our own political editor, Jenna Lynch, who is heavily pregnant. Do you condone that behaviour?
You got me. Excuse me, you were told at the start that I'm here to listen to the protesters, not you. Not a bunch that have been bought out by $64 million.
So manhandling is okay in that instance?
Or who have been gaslighting and virtue signalling and doing all sorts of things to mislead the public. And the fact of the matter is, you all knew, well before you even asked the first question, that I'd asked to speak to the people and that you people could wait to a later time. You're not the centre of this issue, and I wish you would start acting like the Fourth Estate and not like a bunch of fifth columnists.